Disclaimer: no, I do not think my opinions are more valid than any other person's. I really just find joy in sharing my opinions and talking about random BS with others who may agree or disagree. Therefore, you don't have to like or agree with everything I say. You also don't have to listen to the podcast at all. With that being said, thank you and welcome to Mac Unpacks.
Yo, what's good with it, podcast? Welcome back to Mac Unpacks. If you hear, like I normally say, I'm saying normally, like it's not the second episode. If you hear, you're a real nigga. If you're not here, it's a little sus, bro. If you hear, you're debating on leaving. Listen, what are you doing? You got your feet kicked up in the air. You twirling your fingers right now, bro. Just listen. Look, just listen to me yap for about 30 minutes or an hour, and look, you can go on with your day. Listen, you can listen to it while you in the gym or doing whatever you gotta do. So what's the point of leaving? Anywho, look, the episode today is gonna be gas, juicy than a bitch. Because basically what we're talking about is my ex. Now listen, they're gonna be like, oh, what you got to think about your ex? Nothing bad, all good things. We're gonna talk about what happened, where we did the story time, what I did. Now let me get to what I did. Y'all finna be like, OMG. Now look, I cheated. I know. So basically, I posted on my story several times, and I was like, what are some questions y'all asked someone that's cheated before? And the main ones I got was, why didn't you just leave? Did you ever think of your partner while cheating? How many people did you cheat with? And what did you do with said people? I don't know if I'm gonna answer that last one because I feel like that's like kind of private, but like, okay, I'll answer it. No big deal. So we got a lot to get into because it's definitely some stuff to cover. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so look, first order of business, I feel like I should talk about like when I met her. I think I met her at the end of my sophomore year at college. Well, it wasn't at the end. It was kind of towards the end though. It was in March, I believe. And I ain't gonna lie, I immediately knew I wanted her. I seen her. First thing she did when she saw me is smiled. I was like, oh, GG's. Smile made me melt, made my knees buckle, made my knees come together, made me weak. I needed that. I wanted that. I had to have that. Now listen, I was in my bag. I was risen deep, bro. We got to my room. I said the most cringe shit ever. I said, do you want a cookie? Come on, dog. That's a crazy thing to say to somebody, especially a woman when you first meet them. Like, what are you talking about? Do I want a cookie? Me personally, if I was her, I'd be like, oh, no, I got to get the fuck on up out of here. But she didn't, you know what I'm saying? She gave me a little chance. So let me say a couple jokes, you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of funny-ish. I can't be as funny on this hoe or I'm going to get canceled immediately. But, yeah, after that, like, it went cool. It went smooth. And then that semester ended. And she lives in Houston, and I live in Dallas. Ooh, boy, I'll tell you, we were scared because we did not know how we was going to do this. We were scared, but I knew I wanted it, so I had to make it happen. So May to June, I think I had fucked up once. I'm not going to talk about that one because it's really not, it's irrelevant to the story. But I had fucked up once, and then she was mad at me for a little bit. And then we started talking again. Well, we never really stopped talking. But I asked her to be my girlfriend on June 30th. And you know what I'm saying? I asked her under the moon and shit, you know. I'm a romantic, hopeless romantic or whatever. So at this point, we're chilling, we're vibing. And I'm getting ready to go into my junior year. And so she has former trust issues. From like past partners and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, I understand. And I gave her reasons to not trust me sometimes, and we're gonna get into that. So before I went back to campus, we would FaceTime like almost every day, every night, and just always be talking and shit like that. It's cool, smooth, so smooth. But then we're fast forward a little, I get to campus and now we have to like, oh, okay, we're deciding like how we're going to see each other, how we're going to set it up. And what we did was every other weekend, we would go see each other and we would switch out. So every other week I would come to her and then every other week she would come to me. It was on like 2.5, 3-ish hour drive. So it wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad. It was a good little deal. something light. But somewhere in this, I don't know when stuff started like kind of cricking out a little bit, but there would be times, because me, I didn't mind being on the phone all the time, but like when I'd be on campus, like I'd be with my roommates, um, and just like going out and doing stuff, because like I mean I'm on campus, like what else am I supposed to do? Like class, going to have fun, but I would still like make time for her and stuff like that. And that's gonna bring up our first topic that I feel like a lot of people could kind of learn from. And when I say this, I'm specifically talking about dudes who got girls and they think stuff ain't a big deal. So look, there'll be times it'll be nice, like, okay, I'll be like, I can't face something tonight, I got this, that, and the third. Or it'll just be some type of event and it would just prevent me from texting her for a little bit or something like that. And she would get upset at things like that. And I would be like, it's not a big deal. Key word is not a big deal. That's kind of fucked up to say to somebody. I'm not gonna lie. Even if you think it's not a big deal, because I had to learn this and it took me a minute to learn. But what's not a big deal to you may be a big deal to somebody else. I know I'm spitting right now. It took me a fat ass minute to understand that, because there are certain things that you may not find a big deal, but somebody else may have gone through something like that before, and it triggers them in a way, and so they see it as something that they need to like get on or like discuss, and you might see that as them being argumentative or something like that, and it's simply not that. It's just them talking. I struggled with that. I thought that she was just always had a problem with something, but it was never that. It was just she felt like it was something that needed to be handled, whereas I feel like, oh, it's just not that big of a deal, and I would brush it off. But fast forward a little bit, this is when we're gonna start getting into like the cheating and shit. I think the first time was, I want to say it was after Halloween. It was for sure after Halloween. I don't remember how exactly it happened, but excuse me, I started texting a girl. Excuse me, damn. And I don't know what the fuck was going through my head. Like, I genuinely couldn't tell you right now, but later into the story, we'll get to it. I started texting the girl, and then I ended up setting something up, and I was like, yo, you trying to hang out, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. And boom, bam, boom, shit clicked. And then, so we hung out, watched the movie or whatever. Let me preface this by saying, I think this is, y'all are about to be like, wow. I think, no, actually, oh yeah, I know. There was, so I'm finna answer a question actually right now. How many people did you cheat with? There was 3 women, and then they spun the block a few times. So I'm pretty sure I cheated a grand total of 8 times. It was never sex, like it never escalates to sex, but like cheating is cheating. But like we know what cheating is. Don't be one of those technically that ain't kind of cheating. Shut up. Shut your bitch ass up. You're lying to yourself. I'm sorry, but really, if you texting or talking to somebody else behind your partner's back and you're doing it because you know something about them, you're most likely cheating, bro. I'm sorry. And you. But yeah, so I think that was the first time. And then my roommate knew, like my best friend, and he was like, Mac, like, come on, bro, you can't be doing shit like that. And I was like, bro, I know. And our whole thing was, we both got a girlfriend at about the same time, pretty much the exact same time. And we were holding each other accountable, because we've struggled with infidelity in the past. But we've also been cheated on too. So like, we kind of knew the pain of being cheated on. So I don't know why exactly we would put someone else through that. But I'm gonna try to dig deeper into that later. But so his first thing was, he was like, okay, see, I'm gonna have to tell her. And I'm like, no. Like, There's no need to do that. Like, I'm trying to, like, I want to be better. And then at that point, it just became a cycle. Because remember how I said it was 8 times? So it would happen. And I'm like, bro, okay, I have to stop this. Like, I have to be better. Okay. And then it would just keep going and going and going until that spring break. But I think there was just a buildup of things, because I honestly probably would have never told her. It wasn't one of those things where the only reason you feel bad is because she found out. No, she didn't even find out. I told her. It wasn't like there was something that was just blatant. I literally was lying and hiding it and shit. But over like all this time, I think for me, because I had actually ended up breaking up with her, and then I told her I cheated on her, which was fucked up. But I'll get to that. But over time, there was just things that like started to pile up. Like, I felt as if I couldn't, I just couldn't do certain things. Like, I couldn't not call her at night or she would get upset, and there would just be like these things that would just start piling on. And I know, like, well, that's still not an excuse to cheat. I'm not saying that. I'm trying to give like a different perspective. I think when people say like, oh, I've cheated before, I think people's mind goes straight to like, oh, you're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. And there, I ain't gonna lie, damn, this emotional ass topic. There are times where I'm like, damn, like, I'm actually a piece of shit. Like, I really did that. But then there's times I'm just like, okay, I did this, but it doesn't make me a piece of shit. I did a piece of shit thing, but it doesn't make you a bad person. And I feel like for anyone that cheated, and if you do feel like a bad person, because don't get me wrong, there's people who cheat and they just don't give a fuck. They're just like, well, another day, another night. Like, they wake up and they're like, I'm finna go cheat today. Like, no, it wasn't like that for me personally. And I'm gonna get into that once I get to the summer part. But there was just a buildup of things, and then it was my spring break week, and my roommate, or my best friend, Miles, he had came home with me over that break, and I had went to see her the week before the break, or the weekend, I mean. So I go home that week, and Miles comes with me. But Miles' parents don't live in the state, so it's like he really didn't have anywhere else to go. And she got upset about that. She was like, you'd rather hang out with him than me. And I'm like, he doesn't have anywhere else to go. But okay. And then that's fine. So then the whole week, like, we had stuff planned out. We went to the aquarium with our friends, and you know what I'm saying, we did some activities, we did some endeavors that I couldn't mention because I would go to jail. Actually, we were in Colorado. Yeah, we were in Colorado, and we had some edibles, went to the aquarium and whatnot. And she just didn't like when I got high. I'm not gonna lie, she did not enjoy that at all. I'm 21, by the way. 21 when this whole thing went down, and we were in Colorado, by the way. Yeah. And she was like, we never do things, and yada yada yada. And it was always, I never did this, or I never did that, or at least I felt that way. That's what it felt like she was trying to say to me. And I was just like, okay, we did a lot. Now, I'm not like, when she would come here to campus, we really didn't do much, because there's not much to do out here, specifically on this campus, because it's in the middle of the buttfuck of nowhere. But when I'd go to Houston with her, we'd go to the beach. We'd always do some type of activity. And then over Christmas break, our sixth month that came up. So I got us a hotel in the middle of downtown Dallas, right across from the American Airlines centers. And we spent our little 6 month there. She was nice. She was great. I never did that for nobody before. So I was like, okay, real. Like, I really showed out right there. But she was just saying these things. I'm just like, are you for real? Like, okay. And I know what y'all thinking. Well, you cheated, so it cancels all of that. Shut up, fuck you. Just let me talk. But yeah, that whole week, it was just, the whole spring break week, it was just constant to me. It felt like nagging a little bit. And throughout this whole time, I'm not gonna lie, she liked to look to my phone, and there was a couple times she would like find like little things here and there, but never like definitive evidence. So obviously I was kind of feeding her trust issues, and I know that, but I would lie and manipulate my way out of it. I know y'all are thinking like, damn, Mac, I didn't know you was on that type of timing. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I'm sorry. I genuinely feel bad. Then why'd you do it? We're gonna get to that. Anywho, then the next week after spring break, I can't remember exactly what happened, but something had just ticked me. And I was like, okay, I don't think I can do this no more. So I called my roommate and I was like, hey man, I'm thinking about breaking up with so and so. And he was like, bro, are you for real? Like, are you serious right now? And I'm like, I think so. So he's like, well, if that's what you need to do. And he's at work. He's at work at the moment. So I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do, because I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But he said that, and then I asked him at the end. I'm like, okay, should I tell her that I cheated on her? And he was like, yeah, I think you should. So I tell her, well, I break up with her, and then I'll tell her at the same time, I know, double homicide, I shouldn't have did that. I know. I honestly should have just kept it to myself at that point, but I feel like the right thing to do was tell her. And at this point, all hell done broke loose, and it's that shit's crazy. But like, it sucks to kind of see and hear what you put a person through because of your actions. And that's kind of what like I had to witness. She would ask the questions and I had to answer them honestly. Like from like I wanted to be honest about them because like there's honestly no other point in line anymore. So I had to just be honest. And that was pretty much that. So then I think we went no contact for about 2 weeks. And during this time frame, I'm journaling a whole lot. I'm writing a whole lot because I'm genuinely trying to find out like what I want. Because at the end of the day, she was not a bad girlfriend. Like there was issues like here and there and little nitpicky stuff, but like she was never a bad girlfriend. Like she was beautiful. She was a caretaker. She was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie, she was hilarious. She had me cackling, had my lungs hurting. You know, everything was great except for like a few little nitpicky things, and I genuinely didn't know what I wanted. And at this point, I think we're in like the last 2-3 weeks of school, so like I have dead week coming up and finals and all that. So I'm like, okay, I'm telling her. At this point, she's texting me. She's like, if you're willing to, I want to try again. And at this point, I feel bad, and I'm like, why? Like after what I put you through. And she's like, well, like obviously I still love you. I'm like, okay, like I love her too. You don't love her, and she cheated on her. Shut up. I'm gonna get to that. But I'm like, okay, obviously I still love her too. But I told her I need time so I can finish like the school. And at this point, I had already made a decision. Like I wanted to go to therapy because cheating was something that I had previously like had struggles with. Like it's something that crossed my mind a lot, and I didn't start going through it until like this relationship. And I was like, what the fuck? But okay, after that, she was like, okay, I can do this. And then we kind of stopped talking. We died down talking. Like we would text here and there, like, how are you? You know, little basic stuff. And then I finished, you know, that semester. And then the summer came by and like I was depressed. And I couldn't necessarily tell you why. But at this point, I'm like talking to my dad. I'm like, hey, like, can I see a therapist? Because I recognize that this is an issue that I needed to like fix and talk about. So at this point, I'm telling everybody that I haven't told. I'm telling like friends, family. I'm like, yeah, me and so-and-so broke up, and yeah, I fucked up. I cheated multiple times. But I find a therapist, and this is when I can start getting into like the whys and the questions and stuff. So the first like question is like, okay, well, why did you cheat? Why is it's a difficult ass question to answer because there's no like one definite answer. And it's like, there's really not a definite answer at all because when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I just don't fucking know. Like, I genuinely am not sure why I did. When I was talking to my therapist, he was like, sometimes it may have just been your needs weren't being fulfilled. And I was like, I don't know. Because I felt like my needs were being fulfilled. Like, she did like everything, bro. Like, I say she was great. She was great. Top tier 5-star. If this was Yelp, she would have a 5-star review. She was that girl. She was like that. She did everything. You know what I'm saying? So the why is always just a hard ass question. And I started like thinking about it like real deep. And I was like, I think I'm just a bitch. I'm just insecure. Like, I was insecure as fuck. And knowing that other women found me attractive, I think I kind of craved outside validation from people other than her. It was never that she wasn't enough type of thing. It was a other, like, I grew up like ugly as fuck. I was kind of ugly. Like, I was a little chubby ass kid. I was just ugly. I was getting no type of like no love. And then in high school, I was dating a girl and she cheated on me multiple times. Crazy how shit happens, but she cheated on me multiple times. And I don't know how, like, or why it translated to me cheating multiple times. But I think all of that just made me insecure and it made me crave like validation from multiple women. And I don't think I ever like really thought about it until I had went to therapy. So I think that validation just made me feel like better in a way about myself. And I feel like it's something I should have talked to her about, and I never did. So rather than us trying to fix that issue, I just kind of fucked up on my own. And that was pretty much it for that. And then someone said, why didn't you just leave? It's kind of like I explained earlier. I wanted to be better. So, like, a lot of people say, like, well, if you're cheating, you just don't love the person. I personally don't believe in that, or I don't believe that statement, because I honestly couldn't give a good reason. But I just personally don't believe in that statement because love make you do a lot of stupid shit. You're gonna do a lot of stupid shit for love. And I know what you're saying. Well, cheating, you know, you're not gonna be in love and cheat now. Being in love and like taking a bullet for somebody, yeah. Okay, fair answer. I can't argue with that. But just because you cheat on someone doesn't mean you're not in love. I wish I could explain it better, like how I'm thinking about it, but like I really just can't. I don't know how. But I just personally believe you can still be in love and just do some dumb shit because you're just a fucking dumbass. That's really all I got. And then someone also said, did you ever think of your partner while doing it? The answer to that is yes, 1000%. And this is actually something I had to talk to my therapist about, because we were talking and I was like, there were times and she would pop up in my head and I would just kind of suppress it. And I had no idea why I would do that. And he was saying, you are your own person. So in those moments, whatever your thoughts were is what you were thinking. But in those moments, I was blocking myself from having the thoughts. And I knew exactly what I was doing was wrong, but I liked it in a way. Therefore, I ignored the thoughts of her coming into my head. So, but the answer to that is yes. And then the last two were, how many people did you cheat with and what did you do? I already told y'all this. It was 3 and then it was 8 times. Oh my God, it sounds so bad. And what did you do? It was never any sex, but you know, some kissing, some fingering, you know. It's insane to say that out loud. I'm not gonna lie. Absolutely wild to say out loud, bonkers. But those are pretty much the questions. So now we're gonna get into the after and like kind of like from then to now. So that whole summer, which was actually like this passing summer, I was on a fucking mission. I was on a journey. Like the reason I started this podcast is so I could practice commitment to something, because I wanted to actively practice being better. So I started the podcast. I wanted to lock my hair, but I just didn't like it because it wasn't long enough. But I started doing things that would actively make me commit, because I genuinely wanted to be better, not only for myself but for her too. At this point, like I knew, I was like, okay, I'm locked in. I want to be locked in with her, or at least I thought at the time. But so we started seeing each other again in the summer while I was going to therapy, and it would be like, it would still do every other week, but she had moved to Austin because she wanted to live with her sister. And throughout all of this, let me rewind. She was going to go get her master's, and she ended up not doing it after I had told her that I wanted to end things. I cheated on her, so I felt absolutely terrible about that. I felt fucking destroyed because I felt like it was my fault, and that shit just sucked. Cause like you kind of have to sit there and watch how you. For me, the word I feel like is destroyed. I didn't destroy her life, but like that's just the first word that comes to my mind. Because what I did destroy is kind of like her mindset and like the trust we had, or the little trust we had with each other. And that shit just didn't, it doesn't feel great at all. I'm not gonna lie. That shit genuinely sucks. Like I was genuinely fighting, like, not to sound like a cringe bag, but I was genuinely fighting demons, bro. There were times it was literally one time, it was the middle of the night, and I was texting her. I was like, I need my sugar plum, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm pretty goddamn 1000% sure that I loved her, and I was just a fucking idiot and did some nut shit. So there was times I did that, and then we saw each other. I remember the first time we saw each other, she showed me a Snapchat story and it said, "Rake no contact to get the back broke." And I was like, oh, really, nigga? You better believe she got the back. Stop, time out. Whoa, TMI. But yeah. And after this, then we started like slowly texting again, seeing each other again. And then there came the point where she was like asking like, okay, well, are we gonna get back together again? And I was like, ooh, whoa, slow your boat. I still wasn't 1000% sure what I wanted, because part of me didn't want to be back together, but part of me did. So this is when I talked to my therapist again, and I was like, so what do I do in this situation? And what he suggested was a do's and don'ts, like a pros and cons. I mean, he was like, make a pros and cons for each decision. So pros and cons of being with her, pros and cons of not being with her. And he said, it's going to help you weigh the options. So I did it, and it was leaning towards being with her, and my heart was all happy. It was doing fucking backflips and cartwheels and shit. So I'm like, okay, bet. Like, okay, I'm finna get back with my shorty then. So the way I did this was, y'all finna, I cooked, I'm not gonna lie. It was July 4th, and at this point we would have been dating for a year on June the 30th, but we were broken up. But she came for July 4th to me, and I had this little picnic set up where they were doing fireworks. So I laid out a blanket. We went and got some pizza and some wine, and we basically chilled out that whole night, watched the fireworks. We were looking for my friends, but we just couldn't find them, and they left the spot that they said was at L fucking Man's. But then I go home, and at home I have something that I want to set up for her. So I run some bathtub water. Get the little bubbles in the Epsom salt, nice little relaxing bath. I don't know why, but women like the water to be 3,000 degrees. So I had the 3,000 degree water, the one that make your fucking balls literally sizzle. Yeah, I had that type of water. I put the LEDs in there, and earlier that day we had about some water crowns, so you could like draw on the walls and then like spray them off. And basically what I did was I put a little heart on the wall and I said happy 1 year, but not 1 year on the fucking wall. I was in my bag. I'm not gonna lie, I was in my bag. And I got a heating pad, and I brought the wine in there too. Poured her a little glass of wine with some ice, saying, on the rocks. And we did that. I did that. I cooked. So from then on, I knew that I was gonna have to work to get trust back, and I was totally willing to do that. From this point on, I was like, I'm a one-man woman. I have newfound knowledge from my therapist. I'm feeling confident. It's like, let's fucking go type shit. And we're chilling for the rest of the summer, chilling, vibing. But there were a few things again. So I would still go see her every other week. And so this time it was like a 3.5 hour drive since it was to Austin. And there was one weekend that I was not going to be able to see her, or I said I wasn't going to go see her because me, Miles, and my brother were going to Vegas. So at this point I was telling her like, hey, the end of the month for me is kind of packed. I'm getting a tattoo, and after that I'm going to Vegas. So I really don't have like extra like wiggle room for my money. Not to call you like a burden or anything like that. I just, I don't think it was really in my budget at the time when I made my budget. And she got very, very upset with that. And at this point, I had to write it down. That shit pissed her off so bad. And whenever she would get like upset with me or mad at me or anything like that, it was like this voice in the back of my mind, and it was just like, you can't do this. You can't do this. It was like my brain would get loud, and I started having like doubts about our relationship. I'm like, is this really what I want for the rest of like my life, or like can I deal with this forever? And that was something my therapist had said too. He was like, whenever you're thinking about like who you want as your wife or whatever, is the attitude or those days where things are off, is that something that you think you could deal with for the rest of your life? And I would be like, I mean, I think so. I mean, I guess. And then I would talk to my dad and mom about it, and they were like, my dad's advice was, you're still young, so if you don't feel like you should be anything, then don't. I was like, okay. Let me backtrack though. I'm not gonna lie. My mom kind of toxic for this. My mom said, I don't know why you told her. If you was breaking up with her, you should have never told her in the first place. I was like, really? But she not lying. I should have never said anything, honestly, because the guilt on me now is crazy. Guilt on me now is absolutely insane. But she not lying. And another thing about this whole situation that kind of like upset me a lot was that my dad had actually cheated on my mom before, and I saw kind of like the effects it took on my mom, and for me to put that on somebody else was kind of insane. Like, I kind of saw what my mom went through in those situations, or in that situation, and I saw it every day until my dad had actually told me. And what's crazy is my ex actually came in my life at probably one of the roughest stages of my life. This is when like my parents were they weren't going through a divorce, but I'm pretty sure they had like papers and things, and they were not separated, but like not necessarily together at the time. Like my mom wasn't living there anymore, and so it was. She came in at a big transitional period in my life, and when things were shitty for me, and she made everything better during that time. So kind of like putting her through that shit is just a whole nother level of like, what the fuck was I doing? But yeah, that's another thing that upset me about the situation is that my dad had cheated before, and I kind of saw the effects that it had. But anyways, back to what I was originally talking about, I kind of started yapping there. I would tell my therapist that my brain would get loud and I started having doubts, and he would say, is this something that you can see yourself dealing with for the rest of your life? And I'm like, yeah, so I think I could. Like, I would talk to my dad about it, and he'd be like, man, listen, all women are crazy. I'm like, that sounds kind of sexist, buddy. But I'm not gonna lie, he wasn't wrong. I love women. I love all y'all. I love everything about y'all. I love every single one of y'all. Listen, my heart goes out to women. But he wasn't wrong. Not gonna lie. But anywho, she got mad at me, and I'm like, what the fuck? I don't have the bread to spare right now. I'm getting out $400 out to. I'm going to Vegas. Shit is expensive in Vegas. And not to mention, now she had a valid reason to think this, but she was talking about what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and it's called Sin City for a reason. And I'm just like, I'm not finna be down there on that type of timing. I went to a strip club before. I didn't like it. I don't like getting booty flakes shaking in my face. I don't have money for a strip club anyways. Them niggas be throwing $1,000 in ones. I don't have $1,000. And even if I did, I'm not spending it on no booty flake stripper to be working her fucking dump truck on me. I'm sorry. I'm sure she a beautiful woman outside of work, but I personally, strip club ain't my thing. I'm not gonna lie. Go crazy. No for y'all. But she was just saying all these things. I'm just like, bro, we set boundaries, and I was following those boundaries until a certain point. I'll get to that though. That sounds bad, but I'd followed those boundaries, and I was locked in. I was determined to do good. But I followed those boundaries all the way, and I told her before we had got back together, I said, there's no point in us getting back together if you can't trust me. You have to trust me again before we can get back together. And then she followed that with, well, I do trust you. And I'm like, okay then, like, we're golden. She didn't. She did not. It was the same stuff. She would try to go through my phone. I would give her Spotify. Next thing you know, we would end up on Snapchat messages, iMessages. Like, fair, I understand why you're doing that, but like, it was a boundary I set. I did not like it. And it wasn't because I was trying to hide things. It was just because when I was a kid, my parents used to take my phone and they would go through my phone and stuff. So I just didn't like it. Like, I'm a grown ass man now. Like, no, I am a grown ass man. Do not be looking through my phone. But okay, that's fine. I ignored it because I felt like she had valid reason if she wanted to go through it. And okay, I don't want her to overthink or anything like that because she was a pretty big overthinker. So cool, fuck, we ball. Now then, I'm in Vegas. Now listen, me and all my niggas is 21. Brother celebrating because his birthday is at the end of August. He about to turn like 26, 27 or something like that. Miles is celebrating because his birthday is literally, that's why we were in Vegas. And I'm already 21. I didn't get to celebrate my 21st because everybody was out of town or whatever. So I'm like, fuck it, we ball. So we're you know what I'm saying, we're getting zooted every day. We're drinking. We out all the time. We out on the strip minding our own business. And every day, she would text me thinking I'm doing something with the women out there in Vegas. I promise you I'm not. Listen, I love you. I'm just not out here. You have valid reason to think that based off my past, like, interactions, but like, can we try and move past that? Like, I went to therapy for said issues, so I would like to try and move past that. I didn't say that, of course, I didn't want to, like, you know what I'm saying? But okay. By the way, remember how I said I didn't have enough money to go see her? I ended up going to see her anyways before I went to Vegas. Insane, I know. But anyways, just chatting. Anyways, whole time I was in Vegas, she was texting me like, I bet you're with other bitches right now, or I bet you're doing this, I bet you're doing that. I'm just like, no, it's me, my brother, and my friend. We're smoking and drinking. That's all we're doing. We didn't go to like any of the shows because we didn't even know. We were walking the strip and we were walking the wrong part of the strip. We didn't discover the actual strip until the last day, the last night. We was mad as fuck. We was pissed off because we literally were going the wrong way trying to walk the strip. And like his parents would tell us places to go, and we were just not like going to those places. I don't know why, but we literally were walking the wrong, like down the wrong strip the whole time until we actually found it the last night, bro. I was so pissed off. I have to go back. Anywho, come back 2 weeks later. Let's fast forward. 2 weeks later, moving into my apartment because I'm coming back to campus. She helps move in with like, what the fuck, I cannot talk. She helps move me in, all my stuff and whatever, and then she stays for about a week. Okay, not about a week, probably about 3 to 4 days, I think. And in this time, I'm chilling, like I'm ready. I'm like, I'm finna be low in a bit. No problem at all. And then she leaves, and I'm chilling throughout this time. But what starts happening is beforehand, I would always get like thoughts. Like I would see like attractive women, and I would get like thoughts like, oh shit, like I'm trying to see what's good with her, or like I'm, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't know how to necessarily go about those thoughts. So thanks to therapy, I learned like they just thoughts, bro. You always gonna have them. Attractive people to attractive people. Look, say she pretty, whatever, keep it pushing. And that's what I did. But I started to feel as if I shouldn't have these type of thoughts. And then there was one time I was texting my ex. This is an ex that I dated for like 2 weeks, but like she was always my homegirl. Like she was a real close friend. And I was just texting her, but it looked mad sus. It looked mad sus. It was like 3 in the morning, and we wasn't gonna do shit. But I was texting her because like she be going through it. Like she got a kid, and then she has like other like issues and shit. So I'd be texting her like just making sure she be cool, and she be going through it. But one day I'm sitting on the toilet taking me a nice little premium shit, and you know I'm just like, okay, fuck it. Like I'm just leave my phone out here, and I leave my phone. Come back, and she looked at the messages. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm fried. I should like. This is one of them things where I was saying it wasn't a big deal to me, but honestly, had she been texting her ex or something like that, I'd have been like, hey, that's kind of sus. Like, so I understood, and I tried to reassure her about the situation and try my best. She wasn't really going for it. So she ended up forgiving me, or like whatever you would call that. But obviously, like, there's still like the trust that was broken there again. So I had to build that back up. But this is within the span of a month. So then there's a fraternity that I want to join. So like I'm trying to go out and show my face so that people see me and they know me, and they're like, oh hey, like, oh that's Matt, like, oh yeah, he's interested in so and so. And so it'll be me and my roommate Landon, and I wouldn't be like on anything when we go out. I'd be chilling, like, oh yeah, I got a girlfriend. I'm not really looking to entertain anybody anymore. I'm not on that type of time anymore. But I'd be going out with him like almost every weekend for the past like 2 weeks, and it was simply to just connect, like make connections. And I made a lot of connections, I'm not gonna lie. But she was not a fan of that, and I understood. I completely understood, like, you are in a relationship, you shouldn't necessarily be going out like every fucking weekend or whatever. So, and I think this is like the second or third weekend I had went out since she had left, and we still hadn't like completely found out how we were gonna change the our new like when we would see each other, because from here to Austin was longer than from Dallas to Austin. So we haven't found that out yet. And then she started to feel as if like I just wasn't making time for her, because we had talked about like sometimes I really didn't feel like FaceTiming, or I just would feel like being on the phone all night. So we kind of came up with like different we would improvise. I would call her during the day sometime, like during lunchtime, and we would talk for a little bit, or it would just be like in increments throughout the day. But we would text all day. So to me, I was like, we're texting like all day. Like you're not missing anything if I don't call you at nighttime. And she wanted me to call her basically every night. She wouldn't say it, but like she would get mad if I didn't call her, or she would be upset about it. I'm just like, okay. But eventually, I think it was a combo of my own like thoughts about seeing like other women and being like, bro, she's bad, not gonna lie. And then I would get in my own head about whenever she would be upset with me, and I'm just like, I don't think I could do this forever. And then it just, a whole bunch of stuff just started stacking. And then I was like, okay. So one night I came home, and I just wasn't feeling it at all. And I call her and I'm like, hey, I don't think this is gonna work out this time. I hadn't cheated. I hadn't done anything like that this time. It was just simply, I just couldn't do it anymore. And at this point, putting her through heartbreak twice, oh my God. It was bad, bruh. It was bad. There was so much, like, there were so many words exchanged, and it sucked because I saw how I affected her, and it was just bad. But pretty much after that, her friends ended up contacting me. Her friend ended up contacting me and started just being like disrespectful as fuck, saying, you never loved her, she forgave you, and you did this, that, and the third. And I'm like, first of all, you're a third party. I'm not entertaining you. Please get out my face. To which her boyfriend comes in and starts pressing me. Buddy, first of all, this nigga is a grown ass man, but he starts pressing me. I'm just like, I'm not arguing with no nigga that picked up another man's save file, because her friend has a kid, 2 kids already. So I was like, I'm not arguing with a nigga that picked up another man's save file. You're a stepdaddy. Shut up. I'm not arguing with you. Like, stop it. You picked up another nigga's save file and you put it in your own memory slot. Stop. You're irrelevant, buddy. And then X hits me up like, hey, why are you being disrespectful to my friends? I'm like, they came to me with disrespect. Because her friend, I responded like nicely. I was like, hey, well, this happened, that happened, and it's not that I don't love her, it's just that blah, 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 blah. And I guess she just didn't like the way I responded. And she was saying, he threatened me, this, that, and I'm like, bro, I have the messages. Anywho, after that, we stopped talking for actually a pretty good while. And I would see her, like, she'll post on Snapchat, and she'll post things like sad ass quotes, and then occasionally she would send me a snap of her like crying, or like just like scratching herself, and I'm just like, oh my God, okay, I didn't want to put you through this. But it was bad. And then she would post on Reddit, because I followed her on Reddit, and I would see her like TikTok reposts, and everything would just like be about me. And some of it was kind of disrespectful and mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I would look at the comments and shit, and they were like mean, and I was like, damn, bro, like, for real. And at this point, this is when I started like feeling like real down about like myself. And it's not to like try to victimize myself. Like, I obviously I know what I did in the past, so it's not to try to victimize myself. It's just like, now I'm just like talking about it, because it's actually been something that's been on my mind for like the past few months since it happened. But there's one day I saw a TikTok, and it was like, it said she reposted it, and it was about being a bad boyfriend or whatever. And I was like, okay, I did some shit, but I was not a bad boyfriend. I was getting flowers all the time. I was getting gifts all the time. I was going the whole 9 yards and some more. Now I understood what I did, so I wasn't like, well, I'm just not that. I'm not that, because I understood what I did at the end of the day. But I saw this post and I sent it to her, and I was like, who is this about? And she said something along the lines of, if the shoe fits or something like that. And I'm just like, bro, excuse me? Like, she had never talked to me like this before. So I'm feeling awfully disrespected. And I'm actually about to pull up the messages now. I just got to find them. And I'm trying to keep fucking talking until I can find them. But she had said that, and I'm just like, that's totally unnecessary. Oh, here it goes. I said, this about me? And she said, do you think it is? Yes or no? She said, why? It's just TikTok? I was like, yes or no? She said, could be. And so I treat you like shit. All I need is yes or no. She said, sometimes why? Bet. And then it went on from there, and we were just talking, and I was like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to unfollow all your socials and stuff like that. She said, why are you unfollowing me? And then at this point, I was saying, I don't know if it sounds bad, but I was like, I was so shitty and whatnot. And on top of that, whenever I see you post selfies and shit, I'd be staring, and I know, like, it would just be easier for me to unadd you. And then I said, you'll still have my number. And she said, you could have just left it as is. And I was like, why? She said, because it seemed fine. I was like, you'll still have my number. You'll still have, like, my spam IG. And her whole thing was, she wanted me to hate her. So she thought it would be easier for me to move on. So she would post these things in order for me to, like, get mad at her or to move on. I don't think she realized I was sitting there watching them, and I was kind of internalizing and taking in all these things, because this is how she felt. And obviously, like, I think of her in a high regard. She was smartest. She was so smart, and she was just good job. Like, so I thought of her in a very high regard, and seeing her opinion of me on these, like, apps and shit, I was like, damn, like, that kind of hurts. And then she said, you left me twice, bro, and I made it seem easy. And I was like, it just wasn't easy for me, bro. That shit was a struggle. But at the end of the day, I knew what was right for me and her. I knew that I wasn't good for her. And then that brings up, well, why don't she be better for her? And it was, right now, I'm not sure if I can be better for her. Because at this point, this is probably like 3 weeks after our breakup. So now I'm just going through it. I'm battling like my own, like, mental state. I can't talk to my therapist because bro's in a different fucking city, hours away. So it's not like I can just pop in, and I'm getting bombarded with schoolwork every week. So I'm trying to fight. And then I posted TikTok, and she was like, got people calling you pretty, because some girl had called me pretty under the TikTok. And I'm like, who? And she said, I don't know, some bitch. And I'm like, damn, like, okay, that was unnecessary. But I'm like, I don't even know her. And then this is the part that sent me back. So I say, I'm like, I don't know her, blah, blah. And then she's like, okay, I hope therapy fixes you. To which I respond, I'm not broken, so I don't need to be fixed. And then she said, you cheat, ? Lie, ? And at this point, that kind of made me mad, because I'm like, okay, you're bringing that up, but these are issues that I worked on. So for them to be brought up and thrown back in my face, it really does not feel good at all. But I was like, sure, you're just implied that I'm broken. That's fine. And then she said, but you still kept lying. And then she got the little emoji, the emoji that's like the straight teeth, and it's kind of like straight face. And then talking a little bit more, and then she was like, You didn't tell me like little specific things. And I was like, that'll make me broken. And she said, what does it make you? And then I was like, a flawed individual like everyone else. To which she said, a liar, cheater, a manipulator, gaslighter, narcissist. And at this point, I'm clocked out of the conversation. Because now, from this point on, it was basically her just scooping shit up and just shoveling it back in my face. And I had already like felt dog shit about what I had already did in the past. And it wasn't even this half of our relationship. It was the last half that I thought I hadn't moved back. Damn, bro. I'm tripping. That I thought I had moved on from. And when it was thrown back in my face over and over again, not only by her, but like her friend, a couple of people that I was friends with, used to be friends with, they would just throw it in my face, and I'm just like, okay. I'm sitting here trying to work on these things, and y'all not even knowing how I'm feeling anymore, and y'all just throwing it back in my face. And one thing about her, she was always someone that I could go and talk to. Like, I would always, pretty much almost about everything, I would talk to her. She was probably someone that I was the closest with ever. I was closer with her than I am with my own best friend. And that's saying a lot, because if you know me, then you know how close I am with Miles. And there was like, if you really know me, you know you never see me without a shirt off. When you think about it, you'll never see me without a shirt off. She always saw me with my shirt off. What was I saying off? Wow, I'm tripping. But she never, like, I would always have my shirt off when I was around her. Just straight nipper, straight boobie out, straight, you know what I'm saying? But none of my friends ever see me with my shirt off. It just didn't happen, because I was insecure about that specific part of my body. But her, like, I felt safe as fuck around her, and I felt like I was able to talk about anything and not have it thrown back in my face. Like, I've cried in front of my family, like my mom, dad, and brother, Miles, and her. That's 5 people that I've only ever cried, an ugly cry at that. And then whenever she threw these things back in my face, I was like, bro. And then along with everybody else, at this point, I started shutting down. And I can't go to therapy because there's just bro's far as fuck away. I'm drinking a lot. I'm smoking a lot. I'm having a whole bunch of useless ass sex in a month, because we had broke up, and this is probably in the month, and this is a month where I was partying every weekend, just useless shit. And I still am a mess, because now it's gotten to the point where I've always known what I did was bad, but now it's gotten to the point where, like, I'm really reflecting on it even more. And I think what I'm doing is, there will be some times where I invalidate my own self because of what I did, and I feel like I'm not allowed to have those feelings because of what I caused. So I haven't been letting myself feel any type of way. I've been drowning myself in, like, just unhealthy shit, and I've been bombarded with schoolwork, so I haven't had the opportunity to, like, actually sit down with myself and kind of, like, talk myself, or, like, handle my own business. So from that point to now, bro, it's been a hard ass process. Like, talking about this on this episode, I know it's kind of been a mess, because I'm really just talking. It's more of a rant than like an organized podcast. But I think I like it like this. It's kind of raw. You get to, like, hear all my stutters and all my mistakes, And, you know, it's kind of real. You hear me like learning from my mistakes. But from then to now, bro, oh my God, it's been a fucking battle and a journey. There's, it really, it's whack. Like, I've been trying to journal and just write down my thoughts. And one of them was kind of deep, I'm not gonna lie. One of them was I did everything for her, but also everything to her. That shit was deep. That shit was deep as fuck. And it's like, if you don't get me wrong, there are some people that like cheat and they're just like, okay, like I don't care. But if you've ever cheated before on someone that you like genuinely feel like you loved or can say you loved, and you kind of see the effects and the things that you caused, and you've had like other experiences with it, like I said, my mom and dad, you know what you've put somebody through. So it's kind of like a moment of realization. And then you slowly start sinking into this place. And it's not a good place, I'm not gonna lie. It's not a good place. And the way like a lot of my friends perceive me is someone that usually isn't emotional about stuff. But this shit has been tearing me up. It's not good at all. And I keep saying like it's not good at all and not explaining it. But the thing is, it's so hard to explain how I feel now. I guess my whole reason for filming this one was to kind of like give people a different perspective, or let somebody like see that not all teachers just be like, I'm just gonna go fucking cheat today or something like that, but more of the feelings behind it, and that I want to take responsibility for what I did. And I also want to portray that like, hey, the grass ain't greener on the other side, bitch. The grass is not greener on the other side. I would say, as someone who's been cheated on too, I would say they're equal in pain. There are different types of pain, but they're like equal in pain if you genuinely feel like you love the person. Because now you have to live with knowing what you did to somebody, not knowing if you made the right decision, and the guilt of doing what you did, regardless of if you got help with it or not. And on top of that, you know, I've been called all types of names. Bad person, been told I was unlovable. Everything in the book now. So that's about it, bro. That's pretty much about it. Definitely kind of deep there, but you know what? It is what it is. Y'all niggas just got an hour of me yapping, but it was nice. It felt good to get it off my chest. I feel good now. Finna give me a nice little 8 hours of sleep. But anyways, that's it. Thank you for coming to this episode of Mac Unpacks, and peace out.